today we will discuss feedback, mainly in an like normally the recognition that we get, like if we are working on any project. So if there is some, like in LinkedIn we have, okay,
Hmm.
recommendations, like you're working with someone, so he recommend you, he give you some recommendation, and you can also give recommendation. Okay, so recommendation is mainly requested at the initial stage. Okay, like you can ask, like as you have been working together, so you can just ask him like how the work was working with you and all. In the same way, we have feedback concept here. So that is about feedback.
Hmm.
So we'll see few things like how feedback is set up and how we request it. Okay, I was just checking in the tenant meanwhile after joining, like what setup we have. Okay, so like for an example, I'm working with you. Okay, maybe because in companies we work cross teams. Okay, like you are from different team, I am from different team, you are from for an example, you are from time and absence module, and I am from maybe payroll module, something like that, and we are working in a common group on a project. Okay, so after the project is completed, we give some feedback. So in our company, what it like whenever anyone gets some feedback, okay, so that is mainly used, like that is a written documented thing. Okay, like whenever the review happens, like in our company, what we do is, like if I have around 4 or 5 employees working within me. Okay, so what they usually do is, like we have a quarterly check-in in our company. So what they do is, maybe within that specific quarter, they have worked with some cross teams or maybe anything like that, and they have got some feedback. Okay, so they just highlight that, like I have worked on this, so this is what feedback I got. So mainly the feedbacks are positive. Okay, that anyone requests or that anyone gets. Okay, so that highlights. Okay, so mainly how we can do that in Workday. Okay, we will see that. So like suppose for an example, if I want to give a feedback, so there is a task named as give feedback. For an example, if I can select the random worker. Okay, so and there is a restriction, it's like in LinkedIn we can give feedback, we can recommend someone. Okay, like in LinkedIn also, as you might have used. So in LinkedIn what happens is, you can only request the recommendation only to those members who are
Hmm.
connected with you. If you are not connected with them, cannot request for the recommendations. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
if you are just following someone, still you cannot request it. So in the same way in Workday, what we have is, if you are the member, okay, if you are maybe third party or something like that, you cannot. Okay, maybe I am from different line, someone is from different line, in that scenario we cannot. So that should the worker to whom we are requesting, okay, he should be part of that organization. Okay, like for an example, I am working at a different organization, you are a different organization, we are working on a common platform. In that scenario we cannot give. So this is mainly for an internal company purpose, like mainly why we are doing this performance review and everything from the, for the company perspective, correct? In the same way, this is the restriction that we have. Yeah, so like suppose I can select anyone, like Logan is one of them to whom we can select. And there is one more restriction in this that I will show you. Let's see, give feedback to Logan McNeil.
Hmm.
So if I want to give any specific feedback to her that I have worked, and if I want this to be shared with others, I can
Hmm.
click this. If I want this to be restricted with Logan, I can this.
Hmm.
If I don't want to share this with Logan, I just normally want to give a feedback, and maybe his manager or someone can see that.
Hmm.
Okay, so okay, so we have business process for that related to feedback. there is one business process. Give feedback. So we can create step, maintain step as per a requirement. Right now, you can see there is only initiation step. So whenever anyone gives a feedback, if we want it to be, if we want it to get approved, okay, we can
Okay.
create that step. Okay, like if for an example, if I am giving a feedback, okay, but what the company wants is like if anyone is giving any feedback to anyone, it should go through his manager for approval. So we can set up a condition rule here. So that is the reason in the last initially I was telling you, like the main game that goes around is related to feedback, is related to the business process. I can select the approval step. I can specify that it should go to the manager. Let me see if there is one more step that we can add. Actually, we don't have. Okay. So if anyone is giving feedback to anyone, okay, we don't want it to go directly to that person. But ideally, in our company, we do not have any such thing like it will go to the manager for approval and all. If normally you give feedback to anyone, okay, there is an error that is coming because I have to design the completion step. Okay, now the error is one. So now what will happen is if anyone is giving feedback to anyone, okay, it will go for an approval to the manager. Once that is completed, then it will go back to the whichever person we are giving. So this is how mainly we can give the feedback. Okay, and there are badges. Okay, like if you want to select any specific badge, teamwork, innovation, inspiring, general, fun, or anything. Okay, there is one more thing. Okay, we do not have anything such as predefined. Like we cannot predefine anything. Like this is the only feedback that you can go like good, working with you was good. So we do not have any such thing here. If you talk about in my career, I have given so many feedbacks to different uh, colleagues that I have worked with. Okay, and I advise people to give this because see if you're working with someone, if you're at a manager capacity, and if you're giving feedback to other, maybe from a cross-functional team or maybe to anyone, that gives a different set of motivation, or maybe next time when you're interacting with him, because see since the time we have been working in this work from home culture, okay, things have been drastically changed.
Yeah.
Okay, so appreciating someone has become more important because everyone like we nowadays what is happening is we are just interacting for the purpose of work, and that makes things very monotonous and non-interesting. Just we get in touch with someone, we just normally discuss about the work and that's it. But apart from that, giving a feedback, like I will give you an example. Like there was one translation project, like language translation project that I was working on for one of my client. Okay, I was working with some cross-functional team because I'm not that much pro in translation when it comes to translation. So I was
Okay.
just taking his help, and I worked. And he was from uh, some Chicago, Illinois location. Okay,
Okay.
so the way, because in the past he has supported so many clients regarding translation, and when I gave him feedback, so mainly we were concerned about the work and all, but after few interaction only I gave him the feedback. Okay, on this work day, like you can see, just I have shown. Okay, after that our interaction was completely changed. It was not only about work, it was about different thing, about life, how things are, and how, so about all those things. Okay, and interaction became very, so when apart from motivation is one of the thing, and the interaction that we have can be increased. Okay, and I think many of the client have this feature. Okay, like whoever has this talent and performance, mainly specific to them. Okay, so there are few things, okay, that we can set up. Okay, like this is the one, maintain feedback. Like whenever we give feedback, there are few options that we have. So I will discuss about each and every one. Okay, like whatever options we have and how we can set this up. Okay, so talking about this disable anonymity. Okay, so mainly it is pretty much clear from the meaning of this word. Like suppose if I'm giving you a feedback, okay, and you don't know who gave you the feedback, so that will make things messy. So when we select this box, checkbox, okay, it hide, mainly disable anonymity means it, this will get to know, like whomever you are sending the feedback, they will get to know, okay, I got the feedback from this person. Disable decline feedback. Okay, if you click on this checkbox, okay, it removes the option mainly to decline the feedback request, like whichever we are sent. Okay, so it's mainly about that. Okay, the next one we have disable confidential feedback. One thing I want to show, feedback. Let me see what. Okay, do this. So mainly talking about this disable. So when you see, when in future, if you are going to set things up and if you want to know more about this, so you have two options. Either you can just click on this, it will give you the exact details. Okay, we don't, but in reality, we don't use all this option. Okay, but mainly we just disable this one ideally, until or unless client specifically tells you about something, then you can just go through all this option that you can see. So mainly if in case maybe in the moving forward you're just setting up this and you forget it, so either you can come here and you can just click on this field that is there, and you will be able to get the result, like whatever they are trying to say. Okay, or else you can just copy this and paste this in the community and you will get the detail about this one. Okay, disable confidential feedback. If anyone is giving you any confidential feedback, okay, then mainly it is not going to show. That is more about this one. Disable private feedback. Okay, if in case there is an option that is set up, like uh, for private feedback, okay, so that can be disabled. Feedback badges, the one that you saw, the feedback badges, if you just want to disable it, you have this option. See, if you talk about confidential feedback, okay, so mainly in this, what Workday does is Workday hides, okay, and this will not be shared with anyone. It will just between two person.
Okay.
Okay. But it will allow the workers to view all the feedback that has been submitted. Okay. For him. Okay. But what mainly this, let me show you. Let me see the security domain, like what it mainly hides. What is the domain? There. So mainly like whatever we are setting up over there, that is related to domain. Okay. So here mainly we can set up like which all members can see this and who cannot see. If you see about the current setup, right now they have assigned to so many. So it is hard to differentiate. Okay. Mainly if you see, there is no such major difference in between this. If you see, the meaning is going to be same. If you see this confidential feedback, uh, won't be displayed to feedback provider. This only applies to future submission and doesn't expose existing confidential feedback. Okay. And what about this one? Won't be displayed to the feedback provider. Managers will be able to view feedback. Okay. So in this confidential feedback, what is going to happen is, okay, in this scenario, it will be visible to the worker. But when you are disabling this private feedback, okay, managers will be able to see the feedback that is given to the worker. Okay. Disable feedback badges. You have already seen the badges that we saw. Okay, if you want to disable it, you can check this. But ideally, like the setup that we do, we just select this anonymity and rest remains the same.
Okay.
Okay. There is not that much. Okay. Enable private feedback for give requested feedback and enable confidential feedback for give. So this is pretty much same like the one confidential and the private one. Mainly what this does is this like disable confidential feedback, enable confidential feedback. So this was disabling it. It was going to enable for the give feedback that was requested. Means if you are requesting someone, okay, this is for that in that scenario. This was for when you are giving the feedback.
Okay.
Okay. Get feedback. Disable confidential feedback. Okay. This is for the scenario get feedback. Let me see the task here. Whether we have access to that one or not. See, this one that we were saying, okay, this was for when we are going to give the feedback. Okay. This is something when we are going to request for the feedback, get feedback on self or get feedback on worker. So for an example, get feedback on self. If I am willing to, I am requesting a feedback, okay, from someone, maybe Logan. If you're working with someone, you can request for the feedback as well. It's not like you can just only give the feedback. And like in the LinkedIn, as I mentioned, LinkedIn is the best example for this one. Like in the LinkedIn, we can request for recommendation. In the same way, here we can request for the feedback as well. If you want this to be shared with others, share with others means the other people, whoever can access, okay, he can see the feedback that you have. If you have just kept it with yourself, your managers or maybe some other colleague will not be able to see. Okay. So
Yep.
mainly people keep this feedback with others so that others can see feedback on me. See,
Okay.
like mainly if you see in LinkedIn,
Hmm.
okay, if you go on any profile, okay, to
Hmm.
whom you are connected, you can see all the
Hmm.
recommendations. So it is pretty much the same. Mainly if we have some good feedback, we want it to be reflected to others,
Hmm.
correct? That is the reason, like whenever someone is hiring, okay, on LinkedIn, whenever they see that they have very good recommendations, so
Hmm.
don't question about the experience or expertise, anything that they have, but the one actually who is giving the recommendation, that matters. If he is
Hmm.
really at some good position and or maybe some good profile, okay, who
Hmm.
has worked with many such a good company, then there
Hmm.
is no need of any justification. Anyone going through your LinkedIn profile, they will be easily able to understand.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay, and here you can just mention your questions, whatever you want. Okay,
Okay.
suppose for an example, I have sent this to Logan. So an inbox item will see this. You can check this process. This went to Logan. This is not reflecting here. Let me see the business process which is getting affected here. And for this one also, we have a business process.
Hmm.
Most of the tasks that is going to happen, we
Hmm.
have a business process. Okay. So like, see,
Okay.
this is completely a different one. They have created a condition like review, get feedback on self with
Hmm.
manager. If I'm requesting a feedback, then it will go to a manager. Okay. Once that is done, then it will go to the next step. Okay. The reason why it was not showing there, because there is a due date of 4 days. Like once you have requested it, it will not go immediately. It will go after 4 days.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Get back. So mainly your work will be setting up, because all these tasks will be automatically there. Your work from the consultant perspective will be like, is there any specific condition that they are willing to have?
Hmm.
Okay. So mainly for that you are going to work. Get feedback on worker. So here mainly if you, I being your manager, okay,
Hmm.
I want to request your feedback. Okay. For an example, I want to request a feedback for Betty.
Hmm.
Then I have to define from whom I want this feedback. Like I am requesting for your feedback, maybe to some of your colleague with whom you are working.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. See, right now I have an implementer access.
Hmm.
Okay. Maybe if you are a normal worker, you might not have an access to this get feedback on worker.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Obviously, you will not have it, but your manager can have it. He can request for your feedback, maybe to some other person. This
Hmm.
is for that purpose.
Yeah, got it.
Feedback template. Okay.
Hmm.
I will discuss about this feedback template as well. So you can add if you, apart from the feedback template, if you have any specific question that you want to ask, you have that option as well. Okay.
Hmm.
So this one that we were saying, okay, This get feedback, confidential feedback, private feedback. This was related to getting the feedback. Require feedback template. Okay, like we have feedback on self, feedback on worker, feedback for review. So if there is any template that is there, so you can use that feedback on worker.
Okay.
Okay, get feedback on self. If there is any specific condition rule that you want to create, okay, like you are saying here, like feedback template. If you want to create any specific feedback template, you have a task name as create feedback template. You can create it from there. Let me write just feedback template. See, you have an option for creating feedback template, configuring feedback template. So I will do one thing. I will show you these two options. Like the random questions, if you want to set up some questions, okay, that you want to use. Okay, maybe for an example, maybe in every quarter,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you want to request feedback, okay, like how as a team, maybe I being the vice president of the company, okay, there is a manager, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the feedback of that manager with all the employees who is working under him.
Okay.
So I can create a specific template, okay, and I can use that template because I don't have to, uh, because if normally if I ask for a feedback,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so you can write anything in a sentence. But if I ask you a specific question, like whether your manager was punctual or something like that, or whether he was responsive, supportive, if there is any specific set of questions that you want to define, you can define it here. Okay,
Okay.
here you can see you can define the questions and you can define what it relates to. When you are giving a feedback, you will not have that option. Okay, but when you're requesting that maybe for some work or some scenario, at that point of time these questions will be used. I will show you that. Like, let me show you one view, feedback template. So that is the reason mainly what I'm telling you is, okay, so this is the last topic that we are covering. So mainly you have access to this tenant, you can explore, there are so many things. Okay, mainly when everything is set up, you can just go through it and you'll be able to understand. Okay, like
Yep.
why all these things are set up, how they are getting integrated, like feedback for employee. So you see, there is a simple three questions that they have created. How well does this employee make a big impact to the common goal of the team and organization? So the simple questions that they have created. And regarding this configure feedback template, let me select this one so you'll be understanding feedback on feedback for employee. Okay, so this is how mainly they have configured. Okay, like in which way you want this to be reflected. So it's more about that. You have created the questions, if whether you want to relate this to something. Okay, so you can define all those things. Okay,
Okay.
and in feedback, like whenever you are setting up, okay, there are some securities. Okay, so mainly if there is any security that you want to check, like who all can access and like that. So there are few basic concepts that I will tell you from that perspective.
Hmm.
So mainly you can go to the domain, and here if there is something maybe related to, there can be anything like if you are searching for any specific employee, okay, like
Hmm.
what as an employee, for an example, if I am an employee, what all things I can access. So mainly we search that by using self-service. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if in self-service, let me write feedback here. Feedback, self-service. Let's see how they are written. You can see there are so many self-service. Okay, here you will be able to find. So the simple trick that I'm telling you regarding security is, if in case, if you know, if that is from mainly in self-service, we check for things what an as an employee what we can see. Okay,
Hmm.
apart from that, there are other fields like, let me show you. If so, if you know about those things, you can just search it in that manner. If in case you don't know about it, okay, what is the broader way to check? So after
Hmm.
that we have functional area. Okay, so here you can see there are all the domain. And so if you know the functional area, maybe whether it is related to HCM, or maybe it's related to benefits, or maybe it's related to any specific thing, so you can search
Hmm.
from here. Let me see. See, if you want to check related to performance, okay, you can just select the performance, and you will be able to see all the security domains. Okay, from the
Okay.
self-service point of view, we have self check-ins, competencies, delete development item. So from here you will be able to see all the security at the domain level.
Okay.
Okay, if you know the domains, you can go to the view domain. If you don't know this functional area thing, if you know the functional area, like from which specific thing you are checking, you can come here. Apart from that, we have securable items. I just write it in the secure. View security for securable items. Means like whatever things can be secured, okay, in Workday, you can see
Hmm.
list of all that. Okay, and you can just, for an example, you can type here performance. So from here you will be able to see all the things, all the tasks. See, you can see a task. Initially, you'll be able to see the task if you're specifically looking for task. If you're checking for reports, it will be
Hmm.
visible here. Report fields will be here. Like in the reports, we have some specific fields. Okay, if it is related to that, you'll be able to see there. Okay, if there is any background process that has been running, it will be visible here. Data source, delivered worklets. Okay,
Hmm.
and so from here mainly you'll be able to check each and everything related to security. So mainly in security, what problems you will have in real time. Like for an example, a client will come and they will say that I want to restrict this thing. Maybe I want to restrict, for an example, let me show you. Let me go to some employee profile. broken. So whatever you can see here, so this all will come under self-service. Okay. What at the
Mhm.
profile level anyone can see. C is a super user, Logan Macklin. Okay. And
Okay.
if you go into benefits, if you see all this thing. So for an example, if you are trying to restrict maybe something related to view beneficiary. So and if you don't know the domain or anything,
Mm.
okay, you can just come here and type directly that one. I'm just giving you an idea about the approach that you'll be doing. Beneficiary. Spelling is correct.
Okay.
And if in case you are not able to get directly, you have community. Like in the beneficiary, you can see view beneficiary person, we got it. I can go to the security part. Okay.
Mm.
And you can see employee as a self has access. Okay. Worker data. So we are not checking for the worker data. We are checking for the service level. So this is secured with this policy and this is the domain. So when you click on domain,
Okay.
this will take you the respective domain. Okay. And if you want to
Okay.
make any changes, you can just go here, edit security policy, and you can, if there is any new security group that they want to add for the access, you can just mention the security group name and you can check the view or the modify access, whatever they ask you to give. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for all this, they have the view access and the modify access. If they tell you to remove the view or modify access, you can just do that. And one more important thing to remember that I have told you in the past as well, like whenever you are making any changes in the security, okay, alert will
Mm.
pop up. The meaning of that alert is after anything that you make changes in the security, you have to activate the security policy changes. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to make any changes, but I will just show you that task activate pending security policy changes. Okay. So this is the task. So here mainly what practice we do is like if we are making any changes, okay, in the production, like when we are doing in the testing, maybe in the sandbox or maybe in the preview tenant, we don't mention it. But whenever we're making any changes related to security, if there is a task number or maybe a ticket ID or anything, we highlight that. Okay. Because maybe in
Uh-huh.
the future, if I'm not there, at least they can refer back. Okay. Like why it was changed and those things. Okay.
Okay.
So this was related to security. Like this is how you can manage the security level things. This was not specific to performance. I just gave you a brief idea about everything. Apart from that, this was just, apart from that, you will have security at the business process level. Like if I open this talent review, okay.
Okay.
So you can see here, this is the business process. At the business process level as well, we have a security. Okay. For an example, you select here the security groups like manager, employer, self. If in case anyone doesn't have a security for this business process, the security group will not reflect here. Okay. So if in
Okay.
case they told you to assign HR manager, but if that HR manager doesn't have the security here, It will not reflect here. So what you have to do is, first of all, you have to go back to the business process policy. You have to add the HR partner. Okay. Like if, first of all, mainly you can see who can start the talent review.
Hmm.
Okay. So there will be so many, like complete talent review. Like, let me open this. Like you can see here the task, update my talent review, complete talent review. If at the complete talent review task, you want to define the HR partner, okay, then the HR partner should be here. Okay. If in case
Okay.
the HR partner is not here, it will not reflect there. So if it is not reflecting there, you just have to come to this business process security policy and you have to just add it and he will start reflecting there. Okay.
Okay.
If it, you want to assign something somewhere related to update my talent profile to maybe HR partner or anyone. Okay.
Hmm.
You have to mainly check the security groups whether that is they are available or not. Okay. So there are different action. So like whatever actions you can see here. Okay. So these all are the actions, like update my talent view. So related to each and every action item, there is a security. Okay.
Okay.
Right now this is the testing part, this is the preview and everyone is using. That is the reason why there are so many security groups that you can see, but in
Hmm.
reality it will not be the same. Who all can approve? Okay. If in case you want it to be approved by maybe HR partner, but that HR partner is not here, so it will not reflect there. So mainly this all are the places where you have to come back and check related to any assignment.
Mm-hmm.
So this was related to security that you can do. Okay. So mainly what we did is we created a blank report.
Hmm.
Okay. So mainly what happens in any specific business processes. So that is a workaround. Okay. There is a bug that Workday has. So Workday what mainly does is
Hmm.
if you are defining any condition rule here, okay, it checks the security one step above. Then it comes over here. Okay. And there is some bug related to security which was not easy because I have to go each and every specific security group and I have to check.
Hmm.
Okay. So that is not practically feasible at the client level. So we raised a concern with, it was already raised by someone, Lindsay, in the
Hmm.
community where they are clearly defined.
Hmm.
Okay. So mainly what we did is we created a custom report, a blank report, and the report there was nothing.
Okay.
Okay. I will do and after that I have just added it above this step, like after the initiation step I have added it. Okay. Like let me show you. So what mainly we did is I added a step.
Hmm.
I added a blank report which I created.
Okay.
Okay. So here you can see create group. I'm not sure whether there will be a blank report. there is no blank report. So I created a custom report named as blank report. In report there was nothing. Okay, and I assigned it to some security. I mainly assigned to HR admin over there.
HR. Okay.
Okay, so mainly to whichever security you are assigning, there is not going to go any notification or anything to him. Okay, it will be automatically completed. Okay, after that the security check is getting done over there. After that, when it is moving to the next step, okay, it is the condition, because earlier the condition and everything was working fine. The main thing that was troubling is, like, whenever the condition step was wrong, but still it was going through that step. It was because of security, so it was not checking the security properly.
Okay.
Okay, so but the workaround that I saw, I'm not sure like how that was working, but this was a workaround that I found in the community, and when I did that, it was rectified. My steps condition rule was working absolutely fine. Okay,